Hello everyone, today I'm in Paris, France at the Le Hall subway station, and this is a rather interesting subway station in that there's this mall that's built right on top of it, and it's a Westfield mall, and they also own a lot of malls in the US as well. And it's interesting in that it's built down. It goes down about 3 to 4 stories, and there's a lot of department stores and retail shopping and restaurants, and it just opens up into this courtyard area here, and it's definitely a mix of the new and the old. And the mall would probably be the new part of this area, and there's quite a few historic landmarks here, and I'm just gonna walk over to the Louvre Palace, and that's probably about maybe a half-mile walk from where I'm at. And right now I'm probably about maybe 3 miles from the Eiffel Tower. Probably would be able to see it if it wasn't for all these buildings. Anyhow, this courtyard here just opens up, and directly ahead is this church building. It's the Eustache Church, a Catholic church that was built in the 16th century. And it looks like there is something going on here. I think somebody was playing like some rap music right in this courtyard area, and a whole bunch of these cop guys came out, and they looks like they basically told the guy to stop playing his rap music, and he stopped pretty quick. Anyhow, continuing on. And also, one other thing that I found out is the further out from the city that you get, it kind of gets to be a little bit sketchier. You see a lot more of this graffiti, and this is another part of the subway entrance, just more graffiti over there. And you probably wouldn't have to walk too far from here to where you might be in a somewhat bad part of town. This doesn't seem to be bad yet. It's still a tourist area, and this is a very touristy area here. You got the Indiana Cafe here across the street, and I mean, that looks very, very Western and American. And of course, they got a lot of cheeseburgers. 15 euros for a cheeseburger. And this other restaurant here looks more French. See if I can find the menu. And this is both kind of French and American. And they also have cheeseburgers, and the salmon dinner here is 20 euros, but it doesn't look like people are having dinner yet or lunch. It's still kind of early. It's about noon, and it seems like most people are just having drinks. And one thing that I found is that if you're in a touristy area, sometimes it's better to find a side street and just kind of get a better idea of how the typical Parisian person might live. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. Just not even going to bother walking down that other street. And this restaurant's called the Hippopotamus, and they also have burgers and fries. That sounds very American, Hippopotamus, but and it's not necessarily old tourists. The restaurants that I just passed, actually, most people were speaking French, so I could be wrong about that. But then when every restaurant has like a cheeseburger on the menu, it probably is very, you're basically in a touristy spot. And things change a bit. Like, for example, this restaurant here, this menu, the today's special, is all in French. And the only part of it that I can understand is the 25 euro part. So they don't even bother to translate their menu. And let's see here. Same with this restaurant, that's all in French. And it looks like we got a bunch of motorcycles parked out here. These seem to be pretty popular here just because a lot of the streets are so narrow, and I think the price of gas as well, pretty expensive. And this looks to be a meat store, and the one next to it is a specialty frog wa. So they're specialists in frog wa, which I take it to mean duck liver. So if you like duck liver, this is the spot. And here's a fruit stand here. We got strawberries, a bunch of them for 7 euros. And grapes look to be about $3.50 a pound. So actually that's kind of expensive even for out here. And here's a express bar, and same thing with that menu, that's all in French. And a cafe, which I take it to mean coffee, is 2 euros there. And this area here seems to be residential, some shops, and here's a hotel right here across the street. And this is the Hotel du Ponte Neuf. Probably didn't pronounce that right, but it's kind of interesting looking up some of these places online. It's showing up as a 3-star hotel, and it's approximately $120 for tonight. And on Google, one person writes, "Do not go there, is dangerous. My room at the first floor was full of mice." And then the owner writes back, "Sorry about your experience. We do our best to keep our place out of detriment. It could happen sometime to see one, especially if you keep food in the room." So I guess that's kind of the trade-off. I mean, $120 a night in this area it's still rather cheap, and that's why sometimes it's good to stay with franchised hotels like the Marriott and the Holiday Inn, and they have quite a few out here. I have not tried any of the local hotels yet, and it's good that the owner of the property at least wrote the person back and acknowledged that there might be a little issue. And this menu is all in French. See here, this restaurant here looks very American. It's looks like the MD Diner, and this looks like a very 1960s American diner. And let me just check out their menu here real quick. Interesting, they have a cheeseburger. It's called Back to the Cheeseburger for 14 euros. So that's a very American diner. And just at the next street here, and looking around to see if I can see any where I'm at, what street signs. And of course, sometimes they put them on the sides of buildings. I don't see one right now, but this is a rather interesting glass building here. And this is showing up as the Samaritan department store. And this is looks like a women's clothing department store, and it's a pretty big building. And Google just told me to turn right here, and still going to the Louvre Palace. And it looks like here's a jewelry store. So a lot of shopping and clothing and department stores here.
Forever 21. Wait.
And Google's telling me we're getting closer, and it looks like we're about a block away. The next store here is a King Julep. And what does King Julep do? Looks to be children's toys in there. And yes, this is a toy store. And Google's telling me to cross the street here. It looks like there's some street signs across the street there, but one of them is kind of broken. Still really don't know what street I'm on, but there's just more restaurants, and still in a residential area. Those look to be up on top, apartments, condos. And there's just a lot of people on bicycles here. And just wait for the green pedestrian light. Sometimes these bicycles don't want to stop. And here's the next restaurant. This is La Cooperative Restaurant. And see, their menu is also in, it's in French and English. And they have burgers, and a chicken sandwich there was 16 euros.
Are now.
And off to the left, here's a Bucati bar. I would almost guess it's coffee, but it doesn't look like they are serving coffee there. I really don't know what that is. And here's a Paulette sunglass store, followed by, this looks to be a bakery, and we're finally at the palace here. This is the Louvre Palace, and this is just one corner of the building. It basically stretches for about 5 to 6 blocks down the street here, and it says online that most of the building is closed due to construction, but it's just a massive building. And this is showing up as being built in the 12th century, so it's about 900 years old. And it's now used as a museum, but at one time this was a palace.
From Redskins, they have. Come to the back.
And just a few more things. It shows it being 200-room palace, and total square footage 782,000 square feet. So to put that in perspective, that would be about 15 times the size of the White House. And it could almost be even bigger than that, really, because I'm not sure if they count the hallways in their square footage totals here, but it's definitely just a massive building, and it goes on for just blocks and blocks down the street. And also the building across the street is also considered part of this palace as well. And it looks like directly across they have a souvenir shop. And though the building is closed, they do have a courtyard area that's open. And I would say this building is at least 7-8 stories tall. Very big building. Just walking into this courtyard area here, and this is just one part of this palace. I would say maybe 10% of it is just right here, and it's gonna be quite a bit of a walk to the other side of it. There's a larger courtyard area further down the street. And it looks like they had quite a bit of American money in their violin case there, so a lot of tourists passing through here. And it's probably going to be a good, probably 10-minute walk to just get to the other side of this building. You get a better idea when I get out here on the sidewalk. And after a 3-4 minute walk, I'm about at the midpoint, and thankfully they have a second entrance here, and this just opens up into another courtyard area, and that way I don't have to walk basically another probably 5 minutes down the street. And this is also a pretty nice area here. And across the street they have a Hotel du Louvre, and that is showing up as being owned by Hyatt, so it's probably going to cost like $1 million per night to stay there. Well, maybe not that much. Online it's listed as 800 euros per night, so still a little bit expensive, but then again, okay, you're right next to this palace here. And just walking through this hallway area. And it looks like they actually have part of this building open, because there's people inside on this side of the building, but it still says online that most of the building is closed. And directly ahead there's some interesting looking pyramid, glass pyramids, and I think those are the roof for the floor below us. And this just opens up into another courtyard. This is even larger than the previous one, and this just gives you an idea about how massive this building is. I mean, it is just huge. From the far end there, if you were to walk all around this building, and then behind this goes into where we were just at, the other courtyard area, so it's like a horseshoe here, it would probably take you a good half hour, 45 minutes to do all that. And these pyramids are in fact just a sunlight, lets in sunlight for the building down below, but just a certainly just a massive building. And it looks like there's another entrance over here where this other pyramid shaped glass structure is at, and looks like you can go on a tour of the building, but you need a appointment apparently, and it doesn't even say over here how much it costs. It looks like this is either done online or through a travel agent. Let me see here if there's any more postings about what's going on. And apparently it just says visitors with a reservation, and then it gives the times. So you would need a reservation to get inside that part of the building. But I'm not even sure. I mean, if they don't have the whole building open, I'm not even sure if that'd even be really worth seeing just part of it. I mean, I'd want to see the whole building, but I kind of wonder if they can afford to keep such a large building open. I mean, all the staff that they would have to hire and security. I really don't know how that would work, but it certainly is a impressive building though. And right next to this palace is the Seine River, and that basically goes right through the center of Paris, and it should just be outside of this courtyard area. And there really weren't as many tourists as I would expect. I kind of expected this area to be full. It's mid-September. Still a nice day out, just partly cloudy. It's probably temperatures in the 70s, so it's actually pretty nice. At least it's not raining. And directly ahead is another tour bus. You'll definitely see, there's another one behind that one. That's the big bus of Paris. And they have those in New York, and they also have them in Las Vegas. And the thing is though, there's no person giving the tour. I think some of these buses is just done on computer. Basically they just play like a MP3 of each stop. But the big buses that they have in Las Vegas, they actually have a real person that tells you the history of where you're at, and that's really more helpful. I mean, I'm not even sure if it's even worthwhile to take a tour that's just basically all being done by pre-recorded video. And just crossing the street here. One more reason not to drive in Paris. Traffic here is just always pretty bad. But yeah, it doesn't look like they actually have a guided tour on this bus either. This is the Toot bus, and it says it uses biofuel, so it's planet friendly. And here's some people on little scooters. At least they got the safety jackets on. And they might be on a tour themselves as well. And we're now walking on this bridge. This goes over the Seine River. And they also have quite a few of these tour boats here. And here's one that's passing just right now. And this might be a good way to see the city as well. But the thing is though, you would only be able to see what's right next to the river. So I think it would be kind of limited. But might check this out. There's quite a few people on this one, and a lot of people got their cameras out, and I'm taking pictures of them, and they might be taking pictures of me. And that one looks to be pretty full. So a lot of tourists on that. And this basically just crosses over, and from here we could see the Eiffel Tower. It's right in the center there, and I'd say we're probably about 2 miles from the Eiffel Tower. And looking back, you get a better view of the Louvre Palace. There's the start of the far end right there, and it goes all the way down, block after block, down towards the very end there. And it looks like this center part of it, looks like they kind of need a new roof. But overall though, a very interesting building. And I'm now about a half a mile from the Louvre Palace at the Saint Michel Notre Dame subway stop, which is directly behind me. And I was just going to take the subway back to my hotel, and the subway station is basically just right down there. But I found this area to be rather interesting. It has a lot of little shops and restaurants, and the Notre Dame Cathedral is that building right there in the center, and the Saint Michel is across the street. Let's see if I get a better view. Just directly across the street is the Saint Michel fountain. And here's a kind of a bigger restaurant right here. Let's check out their menu. So let's see here. They got hard-boiled eggs with mayonnaise for $6, or you could get a plate of snails for $7. Gross escargots. So have to remember that name. If they have any specialties, look out for the snails. And they seem to be pretty popular at quite a few of these French restaurants. And like I said before, like the further you get from the main tourist attractions, you kind of get into more of kind of a, not too sketchy, but it's just some boarded up shops and maybe some graffiti and stuff like that. It doesn't seem to be that bad of an area, but we're probably about maybe 3 miles from the Eiffel Tower. And off to the left, here's a Sephora retail store. It's like a cosmetics and makeup store, but they got a bunch of broken windows here. And then across the street is a Paris baguette store. Baguette, it's like a sandwich. You've got a Haagen-Dazs shop. No need to stop at Haagen-Dazs. It's pretty expensive wherever you go. And they also have residential, and there's a hotel here. It's the Hotel Mont Blanc. It's this building right here, and it's listed as a 2-star hotel. And this area is still pretty expensive. It's $350 per night, And overall it has pretty good customer reviews, but the complaints that it does have, people are basically complaining that the staff is rude and the rooms are small. So I can see how these buildings, the rooms would be pretty small. I have not stayed in this area, but it does look like a pretty older area. And as far as the staff being rude, that I guess is possible pretty much everywhere. Not sure if that would happen more often here. And they have quite a few of these gyro stores, restaurants, and basically they're pork based. So it's like a tortilla shell with pork, and then they put like lettuce, tomato, and then they add French fries to it. And 1 euro is between $5 and $7. And off to the left, just some more souvenir shops, and another gyro store here, restaurant, and they got a whole bunch of pork on the rotisseries. And in general, it would be probably better if it was more chicken based or even seafood based. And I think I've seen one gyro shop that is fish, but I'm not sure if it's too good to eat pork all the time. Anyhow, continuing on across the street, here's a George's Cafe, and that looks to be more of a bar. It says cocktails are $6. And we're back on a busy street again. Another tourist bus. That one's not even half full. And in general, I would prefer like the smaller streets, the with the alleyways, and you just, for one, don't have to deal with the cars, and it's just kind of easier to walk around. Don't have to bump your head into these umbrellas and all this stuff they got on the sidewalks. But there's just a maze of these little streets and alleyways, and looks like there's another alleyway coming up. And off to the right, here's another restaurant, and their specialty is snails, apparently. You can get a plate of snails for $24. And just turning on a side street here, more souvenir shops, restaurants. And this building to the left, this is a church building, and let me see if I can find some signage on it. Here's another gyro restaurant, and this one looks like they have meatball gyros, and looks like they also had fish ones as well, $8-9 each. And this says Saint Severine Church, and it doesn't really give any other information besides the name of the church, but it looks like it's still a functional building. They still have church services there. And online it's showing up as being built in the 13th century. So quite a bit of this stuff is showing up as being built in the 1200s. And another gyro restaurant. That one has egg gyros. So basically like a pita bread with eggs in the center. And this gyro shop over here They also have meatball and sausage gyros. I don't see any with chicken yet. And this is just kind of a maze of streets. I mean, you could basically turn down any one of them and it's just going to be a lot of shops and restaurants. And it looks like this one's a little bit wider because they're parking cars on it. And another gyro shop across the street. And they also have cheeseburgers over here. So this is an American restaurant. And it looks like a cheeseburger with fries and a drink is $7. And here's a pizza restaurant. And let's see if I could find anything. Just a basic cheese pizza is $11. And off to the right is another souvenir shop. They have a lot of I Love Paris t-shirts in there, followed by another souvenir shop. And this one as well has a lot of t-shirts that say Paris on them. And directly ahead is a Cafe Brasier. And you see their menu is both in French and English, and just I couldn't find any snails, but they have a chicken sandwich there for $12. And we're back on another busy street here. And basically that seems to be kind of the pattern. You'll get to a busy street and then there'll be a bunch of side streets and alleyways that you can walk down. Restaurants and shops pretty much on every street. If you're looking for food, you can't really go wrong on whatever street you pick. And off to the right, here's a women's clothing store. And directly ahead is a Starbucks coffee. And I'm kind of curious to see if these Starbucks, I've never really been in one here. I'm kind of curious to see if they have a Frappuccino. Actually, I do not see a Frappuccino on their menu. That's basically the coffee with chocolate, I believe. And I was just kind of curious because those are probably just so bad for you to drink that, and it doesn't seem like that would be necessarily something that they would like in Paris. But then again, there's a lot of chocolate shops and coffee shops, so I guess they kind of already have what Starbucks is doing anyway. And this looks like a telephone shop in orange. I guess that might be one of their phone carriers out here. And it looks like we're almost back to where we started. So we basically just made a big circle. Here's another crepe store, restaurant. The creperie shops seem to be pretty popular here. It's just like a pastry, basically. And directly across the street is the Michel Fountain, Saint Michel Fountain. And it looks like it's time for another Paris shopping trip, grocery shopping at this Franprix grocery store. And they have a lot of these little groceries. And here's the fruit section. And let's see, grapes are about $1.50 per pound. And here's some pre-made pizzas. They are $2.50. And 1 liter of orange juice is $3. And here's some seafood. Pretty expensive. A pound of salmon is $9. And here's the milk. Looks like 1 liter of milk is $1.90. And here are the eggs. They just have them out in the store as well. 1 dozen eggs are $6.